And our first story, Trent Methodist School is the best performing school in the Gomorrah West District of the Central Region. Yet, the conditions under which the pupils of that very school study are very much awful.
Well, for the past 4 years, the structures of the school have been deteriorating, and it seems authorities have turned a blind eye to it. My Joy Online's Austin Bracco Powers visited the area and has filed this report.
This is the Trent Methodist Basic School. The pupils have no choice but to sit on the bare floor to take lessons because furniture is a luxury. Where their desk, they are woefully inadequate for a class. The nursery staff common room uses a dirty aluminium makeshift structure. And as if this is not enough, the teachers for the primary session have to sit under a tree because there's no staff common room for them. Literally, their office is also under a tree. Several complaints from residents have also fallen on deaf ears. Nana Esichua is the queen mother of the area.
Yes, school no. Be a daycare one. I know share community ne akasa. Yes, them daycare no.
It used to be a workshop. Then we turned it into a school. The conditions are very bad, I know. We've sent lots of complaints, but nothing has been done. It really saddens me that after every effort, nothing has still been done.
But District Education Director Peter Brighton-Malqua refused to speak to Joy News as he accused the news team of spreading false information about the school.
It is this man, on my wrong information. A friend
Okay, so you, when we get to our time, you hear from us. I'm not taking decision.
The Deputy Prime Minister, John Jinapor, has been briefing Parliament on issues concerning prepaid energy meters.
According to him, the introduction of the prepaid meters was to enable ECG provide quality services, allow customers manage the use of electricity, and also to avoid accumulation of bills.
Government strictly does not import prepayment meters. Normally, would import post-payment meters as part of the SHARE projects that this House has approved under the 10 key projects. And so, strictly speaking, we do not import prepayment meters. But we thought that we should give you additional information about meters that ECG and NETCO is procured. And even with that, Mr. Speaker, with your permission once again, they do not import the meters directly. We have 5 local manufacturing companies, and so they procure from them from 2012. That is what we have been doing. So having said this, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I'll proceed to conclude by saying that the introduction of prepaid energy meters was a means of enabling the utilities, namely ECG and NETCO, to collect revenues upfront in order to finance their operations and improve on their effort to provide quality services to customers. This was also intended to empower customers to manage the use of electricity by avoiding waste and also prevent the accumulation of unpaid bills. Following the government's approval, a larger project was scheduled to replace all credit meters with prepaid meters for all ministries, municipal and district assemblies in their operational area.
President John Dramani Mahama has once again justified private sector participation in the operations of the Electricity Company of Ghana, arguing it is a risk worth taking to fix what he describes as a very inefficient downstream power distribution sector.
Workers of the electricity distributor have been in the news lately to voice their objection to the transaction. Their protestations, however, come at a time many customers of ECG are unhappy with the quality of service delivery and what the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, says has been widespread overbilling of customers.
Well, speaking at the opening of the Africa Mobile and ICT Expo here in Accra, the president likened the current charter against the private sector participation of ECG to what pertained in the period leading to the liberalization of the telecom space some years ago.
Change is something that many people are afraid of. At the time it was decided to deregulate, I remember P&T workers were against it. They went on strike. They said it was going to create job losses and so on and so forth. Today, the P&T is Ghana Telecom. I think Ghana Telecom employs more people than P&T ever employed. And if you add Tigo and all the other mobile companies and all the other data companies and everybody, I'm sure that the telecom and digital ICT industry employs hundreds more people than it ever did when we had just P&T. Ghana and South Africa were the first to begin the deregulation on this African continent. And change was not something people wanted to embrace. They said that telecoms was such a vital service that if you deregulated and let the private sector come in, the CIA could plant things and listen to conversations. And those were some of the chimeras that were, pulled out of the box because we were going to privatize, allow private participation. Today I can see a similar development. We have a very inefficient downstream distribution system on the electricity and power front. We're trying to do reforms, and those chimeras are being drawn out. Electricity is so important, that it must be monopolized by the state. Why are you allowing private sector in? But we've had this system for years. It's not working. If it's not working, you fix it. And you fix it by taking risks. It's a risk we took when we deregulated telecommunications. Nobody knew it would turn out like this. But look at us many years on. And so if you're not willing to take risks, then the world does not make progress. The world makes progress based on risks. And so we'll have to, prepare our minds for a change when it becomes necessary. And once the deregulation started, the technology started moving at a breakneck speed. And it was necessary to set up the NCA to regulate the sector. But how do you make regulation when every day some new invention is coming up that you did not make provision for? And so that's what was happening. Pagers came up. I don't know if you guys remember the days of pagers, where they sent little messages. If you were a doctor, you carried your pager on your belt, and then they called you and said there's an emergency, and then you had to rush back. And it was also a status symbol. You hung your pager here, and it showed that you had arrived.
The Ghana National Petroleum Authority has until the 17th of this month to provide Parliament with details covering its decision to construct a new headquarters, all at a cost of some 115 million Ghana cedis.
Now, the corporation, among others, is also directed to provide further particulars on its $100 million guarantee for private power generating company, Car Power, on behalf of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joe Gate, gave the directive after the House approved the controversial budget for the corporation, estimated at over $2 billion.
The Mines and Energy Committee has since last week lobbied the House to approve the budget, but inadequate information on key items forced the House to abandon the whole process. Majority Leader in Parliament, Abang Bagbin, wants the GNPC to comply with the said directive.
Credible information that the Minister of Finance will be coming back to this House with a supplementary budget. And the GNPC should take the opportunity and make sure that it's captured in this supplementary budget. I'm informed that there is some financial element that was not approved by the House, which is covered in this whole report. And so I think that they will have to rectify that by submitting that to the supplementary budget for scrutiny and approval, if need be, by this House. Mr. Speaker, I have also been told by the leadership of both Houses that this is a matter they take seriously. And I think that GNPC To repeat some of my colleagues, for once, should listen to good counsel from Parliament and do the right thing.
Push by the minority to have the motion stepped aside was unsuccessful, allowing the second Deputy Speaker to put the question on condition the GNPC will comply with the directive.
I made a statement which I think may be best that we don't make the linkage. You mentioned a supplementary budget with respect to the issue. I think that we should decouple. The supplementary budget, even if it is coming, is not known to this House. It would be best that we don't take decisions assuming that a supplementary budget. So I think if leadership has agreed on a way forward, I don't have a problem. But if you make it contingent upon a supplementary budget, it is presupposing that we'll pass it. And that will create difficulties. So I think I don't have any difficulty with whatever arrangements have been agreed upon.
The type of procurement method that was used in selecting these 5 companies that he listed, and whether it was the whole procurement process was competitive enough for us to have gotten value for money in the entire procurement process. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The Ghana Police Service has arrested some 32 suspects who engage in the printing and issuance of fake roadworthy certificates and stickers at the Accra and Tema offices of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, the DVLA.
Favor Nuno has more.
The arrest follows illegal operations and issuance of fake roadworthy certificates and stickers to unsuspecting motorists who visit the Accra and Tema DVLA offices to secure roadworthiness certificates. The police say the fake documents have striking resemblance with the original DVLA roadworthy certificates, making it difficult to tell the difference.
As per the preliminary investigations that we have conducted, you see that the stickers that they are producing, they are printing and selling to unsuspecting drivers are very true to type, true to the ones that the DVLA are selling. They seem to have laid hands on the genuine software of the DVLA sticker, and so they are reproducing. So when they are stuck to their vehicles, it will take a very expert eyes to detect the fictitious nature of the ones that they are using.
According to the police, the suspects are currently being screened and key culprits will be processed for court.
These fake certificate dealers were operating from containers within the vicinity of the DVLA offices. And so the operation was mounted and about 32 people were picked up. Presently, those people are undergoing some screening and then some screening so that the suspect and the true suspect could be processed for court. We are going to deal with the perpetrators. We are looking for those behind it. If there is somebody within the DVLA who has a hand in it, who is aiding so that he can also get some consideration out of it, we shall get at the person.
The public, especially motorists, are advised to go only to DVLA private test garages for the testing of their vehicles and subsequent certification.
We have to take you to the court where the Supreme Court has been asked to review its decision to bar the High Court from hearing a suit challenging Dr. Zaneto Rawlings' eligibility to contest the NDC's parliamentary primaries at the Clotte constituency here in Accra.
The incumbent MP for the area who lost to Dr. Zaneto Rawlings in the November primaries says the Supreme Court's decision on May 19 did not consider the governing party's constitution. Joy News' Raymond Akwa was in court and filed this report.
The court on May 19, 2016 stopped the High Court from hearing a suit challenging Dr. Zaneto Rawlings' eligibility to contest the NDC parliamentary primaries at the Clotte constituency. Whilst Nyama Ashite expressed dissatisfaction with the ruling, Dr. Zaneto Rawlings hailed the decision. Her lawyer said the High Court lacked jurisdiction to hear the case because it requires constitutional interpretation. She maintained that the High Court usurped the powers of the Supreme Court when its trial judge, Justice Kweku Akabwa, Boafo interpreted Article 94(1)(a) of the Constitution. The incumbent Klotekole MP, Niama Ashite, who went to court in January 2016 after losing the November 2015 primaries, insists that Dr. Zaneto Rawlings was not a registered voter before the elections and therefore did not qualify to contest the polls. After 2 High Court rulings in favor of Niama Ashite, Dr. Zaneto Rawlings escalated the matter to the Supreme Court and won a decisive preliminary ruling. Her lawyers were, however, asked to file a response to the request for a review by June 10, 2016. The Chief Justice will be expected to reconstitute the panel to hear the review application when the court sits on June 15, 2016.
We take you to the Volta region, where the people of Alavanyo are threatening to forcefully reclaim land they gave to a religious non-governmental organization operating in the area. They accuse the organization of reneging on promises made to the people of Alavanyo.
Now, according to them, more than 25 years after the Le Foyer de Charité took over their land to operate a retreat center, it is yet to deliver on the development projects it promised, but continues to deprive them of income they could have earned from tourist attractions, including a waterfall currently part of the retreat. Latif Idris has been to the community and has more in this report.
Alavanyo, a town in the Hohoi municipality, is noted for sporadic clashes with its neighbor, Nkonya. Natives of both towns have been described by some as a bunch of flippant individuals fighting over barren lands, but that is not true, as I found out. The Chachadu waterfall, for instance, according to residents, used to bring in quite a bit of revenue from tourists until it was taken over by the Le Foyer de Charité, a religious group which claims affiliation to the Roman Catholic Church.
This waterfall used to be one of the booming tourist sites in the Volta region until about 2 decades ago, when a section of the Roman Catholic Church, that is Foyer de Charité, took over this portion of the community, promising the people of Alavanyo massive development. But after 2 decades of, taking over this property, the people are yet to see a single promise fulfilled by this section of the Roman Catholic Church, and they are furious about the development.
The man who they've put over there as a head of the place, the man don't want nothing to go on the place again, especially the waterfalls. Is the only falls that we have in the area, and that falls, the community have been benefiting something from the falls anytime there was an occasion.
About 20 years now, they did nothing about their promises. So the youth of the community want to enter their land because they are forefathers' land. So they wanted to enter the land and use the land as normal.
Attempts to get response from Le Foyer de Charité proved unsuccessful, as the only priest camped at the prayer house with the 14 Virgin Sisters told me on phone he was on a mission outside the country. The Virgin Sisters would also not speak. The residents of the area have meanwhile threatened to stage a demonstration to evict the priest and the sisters so that at least they could once again begin to attract tourists to the Chachadu waterfall.
So the people of Alavanyo have spoken. They are not happy about the current situation as far as the Chachadu waterfall is concerned, and they can't wait to see it bounce back as one of the major tourist sites in the Volta region. Latif Idris, Joy News, Alavanyo in the Volta region. But before I go, I would like to cool off in the Chachadu waterfall. I must say it feels really good. Maybe next time you visit the Volta region, you'd want to come to Alavanyo just to have a feel of the Chadudu waterfalls. Finally, this is Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.
Well, we're on dry land here in the studio.
I wish I was swimming.
Fun of
it's a long
waterfall.
Time.
Well, that's Latif Idris' beautiful report from Alavanyo, and we hope that they will be in a position to resolve that very difficulty they're having with the charity Together Land too.
Well, that'll be it for the news. When we come back, we'll be bringing you what's in the newspapers, front and back pages, and as well as some online portals.
Well, do stay on. We'll be right back.